Innistrad, considered to be one of the greatest sets ever made of Magic the Gathering. Perfect for draft, amazing standard environment, with an enormous amount of its powerful and well-received cards becoming staples of every format. Loved by casuals and hardcore players alike, truly, Innistrad was more than just a success. It quite possibly was the apotheosis of Magic the Gathering. And now we have returned at last. We're back in Innistrad and covering the top 5 reprints from original Innistrad for Shadows over Innistrad. Coming in at number 5 is Unruly Mob. It's a common that whenever another creature dies, you put a counter on Unruly Mob. Yes, it's back. At number 4 is Deadweight, a favorite from the great original Innistrad draft environment. It's good removal. Yes, at last it's back. It's a snap 3rd or 4th pick during draft. And at number 3 is, Gloom Widow, a spider that can, what? That was from Avacyn Restored? Does that count? Mad Prophet, huh? That was from Avacyn Restored too. So that's it from original Innistrad set. Just those 2 reprints. 4 reprints total, if you count the complete block. They say that Wizards of the Coast doesn't profit off the secondary market, and that Wizards of the Coast makes its money from selling booster packs. If that is true, and I believe it is, then Wizards needs to change the way they do reprints, specifically transitioning from nearly no reprints of any value in block sets, or in Shadows over Innistrad's case, no reprints whatsoever of any value, to some. Some reprints are needed in block sets. Blah 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 blah. In fact, Shadows over Innistrad only contains a total of 14 reprints, and all of them are 10 to 20 cent cards. Not a single reprinted card that had value over 50 cents, let alone the $100 range cards like Liliana of the Veil or Snapcaster Mage or half a dozen other ones I could mention, which are needed for just about every format outside of Standard, from Modern to Legacy. And what effect does this lack of reprints have on the game? Well, want to play Infect in Modern? $863. Burn? Try $892. Abzan Company or Lantern Control? $1,100 each. Jund? $2,151, give or take a few dollars depending on your build. Wow, when did Modern Burn get so expensive? Well, no Goblin Guide reprint in Return to Zendikar didn't help. The once $5 card is now $40 each. But the truth is, everything that's seeing play is this expensive in the game these days. Looking at this list and the complete lack of any, not even one meaningful reprint in Shadows over Innistrad, and it feels very clear to me that Wizards of the Coast intentionally does not want to reprint cards of value, even moderate value, in block sets anymore. And yet, in order for formats such as Modern to exist and thrive, something that I feel the players of this game have been very clear is something that they want, we need a reasonable amount of reprints in block sets, to say nothing of reprints in pre-constructed products that are for sale. Don't think it's safe to reprint a certain card in a block set because of what it'll do to Standard? That should be what things like dual decks are for. Now, Magic the Gathering players often love to live in the hypothetical world of the next set. This tribe or mechanic will surely become fully realized next set, and yes, these missing reprints may indeed materialize in Eldritch Moon. And hey, if they do, no one will be happier than myself to see Liliana of the Veil and Snapcaster Mage getting a full block reprint, lowering their prices and making them widely accessible to the masses of potential Magic the Gathering players. But there's another future set in our future site. 2 of them, actually. Eternal Masters and Conspiracy 2. Unfortunately, going by the previous two Modern Masters sets, as well as that original Conspiracy set, the cards reprinted will not be sufficient to alleviate prices in Modern and Legacy, or even Commander. Modern Masters is not giving us the reprints we need in the quantity that we need, and I think the same is going to be true for Eternal Masters. The biggest problem with sets like this is that they are made as draft-first formats. Thus, the majority of cards, almost all of the cards that are selected, are not selected because they need to be reprinted, but rather they are selected because they will create a great draft environment. And that's wonderful if you can find and afford a draft. But these sets are designed as ones to draft from as that primary goal, with reprints coming in as a secondary or possibly even tertiary goal. Add to that the fact that reprints of significant value in products like Modern Masters, significant need to be reprinted in the first place, are intentionally shifted in their rarity in order to reduce their availability. I'll repeat that because it's the next biggest problem with products like this, and why things like Modern Masters and Eternal Masters are not helping us at all. The cards that are most needed to be reprinted, from Tarmogoyf to Force of Will, are shifted in rarity, from uncommon to rare, and from rare to mythic, so as to ensure the minimal amount of them are printed. Ensuring that there are the fewest possible of the most needed cards means prices will not come down significantly, will not stay down at all. Access to these cards will be minimal. Those with the most means will continue their dominance of the secondary market. To say nothing of the fact that these sets are extremely limited print runs, pricing out most average players. Try being age 16 to 24 and taking in a Modern Masters draft if you're not already filthy rich. Now, all of this is most likely due to Wizards of the Coast trying to please collectors by not destabilizing and lowering prices of higher-priced cards. But that's why we need reprints. The card costs are too high to play the game. I understand that it is a vital part of this game that cards have value. Yes, that they increase in value, and yes, reliably retain value, but this has come up in odds against the needs of people to actually get cards to play the game. Every format except Standard uses cards from outside the current Standard block. People want to play with their old cards. This has been an aspect of Magic since the game's inception. We want formats that are supported and played where we can use our cards, all of our cards, not just the ones from the newest set. I know Wizards often sees these things in terms of immediate profit. Standard sells packs, not Modern, but if you print Modern staples in block sets, then both Standard and Modern will sell packs. Limiting reprints might actually be limiting profits. It is certainly hurting the player base. Final words. There needs to be a change. Either all these supplemental products, from pre-constructed decks to special summer sets, need to be re-examined in terms of how many cards of value are reprinted in them, or block sets need to include more reprints of value regularly. Not expeditions, not Felidar Sovereigns, but actual cards that are needed to play this game. Cards that are $40, $50, $100 each need to see reprints in such a way as to actually lower their price. The center cannot hold. This should not, cannot become a game only for the wealthy. It should not, cannot thrive selling itself only to those with the most income at their disposal.